Hello,
Hello. Good afternoon, Miss Schooley. How are you?
I'm well.
Okay.
Glad to be here with you.
I'm happy for you to be here with me as well. It's a nice, bright, sunny day, even though they're talking about some more snow. So be it, it's wintertime. What are you going to do? But first, I'm so happy to have you here with us today. And um, and I'd like to welcome all my caregivers, my heroes, family, and friends. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to introduce myself. Of course, I'm Jean Kirkley. I'm CEO of Boomers Are Heroes Caregiver Support Group. And Boomers Are Heroes was founded in 2011, 2 years after the passing of my late husband, Roy, who had spent 32 months in the hospital system due to a lot of complications um, from diabetes. And after all of it, we went through together as his care advocate and as his caregiver and wife. There was a lot I saw, the lot I will never be able to unsee or ever forget. So 2 years later, it just kept working on me, and I had the need to be able to share with other caregivers whom I found there were a number of them from my class, my high school class, thus the boomers or baby boomers are heroes. And so that's how it got started. So started from there, strictly from love, and it's been going on for my 13th year this year in
Wow.
honor of my late husband, Roy. And it's a
Mm.
thing I do out of love to help other people along the way. Okay, and what I'd like to do is introduce you to Ms. Brooke Schooley. She is a cabaret performer in New York, and she reached out to me through Dementia Spring, and that'll be explained later, to perform a program for me to as a fundraiser for Boomers Are Heroes. And it was the greatest thing that ever could have happened to me. When I got that email the week after Thanksgiving, I couldn't believe what I was reading. This has got to be a joke. And I kept reading it. I'm like, well, maybe not. Let me call her. I'm like, wow.
And I
And
think you called me the same night.
that same day, I kept reading it. I'm like, no, no. And I'm like, well, let me call her and see what's up. And sure, it was real. It was real. And so I present to you Ms. Brooke Schooley, and she'll introduce herself and tell you about the program that she's offering. Brooke?
Thanks, Jean. Well, I'm so glad that Dementia Spring brought us together. For those that don't know, they are a group that supports artists, musicians, filmmakers, people doing visual arts,
Mm-hmm.
who are doing work
Mm-hmm.
inspired by their experiences with dementia, about dementia, or work that's being used in for therapeutic purposes for patients with dementia. And when I told them that I wanted to do the show in Philadelphia and I wanted to do it as a fundraiser for a caregiver support group,
Mm-hmm.
they immediately told me about you.
Mm-hmm.
And I emailed because I thought, oh, I don't know. I hate to cold call people out of the blue. It's always so awkward. I like to give them a chance to kind of absorb whatever it is that I'm saying, if it's, if I've never met them. So I was so thrilled when you called, I think within hours of me sending that email. And I think it was, I think it was a match made in heaven because just as you were inspired to start Boomers Are Heroes after your experiences with caregiving, I was inspired to put together this cabaret show because of my experience with my parents, both of whom had dementia before they died. I'm an only child and I live in New York, as you mentioned. I grew up in Ohio. My parents were still there. So I spent about 8 years caregiving from a distance going home 1 week a month to caregive in person, and also ended up finding a incredible team of caregivers that were with each of them till the end.
That
When
was
my mom died in 2020, I obviously had a lot of emotions, a lot of things to process, but one thing that I needed to process was that I had just spent 8 years of incredible time, emotional energy, just mental bandwidth
mhm,
um, on their care.
mhm.
And all of a sudden, I didn't have to do that anymore, but I didn't really want to let go of it. So I started thinking about how can I turn this into something productive. And it struck me that cabaret is such a flexible art form. You can kind of make it whatever you want to make it in terms of stories and the songs that you sing, the stories you tell. And so I thought, oh, I could never tell these stories in front of an audience. I'll be a puddle of tears. So I actually signed up. I was going to start working with a cabaret coach on this show in March of 2020. And of course, that got canceled because of
Oh,
COVID. I
yeah.
didn't pick it back up until the fall of 2022, I think. So the show really came together kind of the end of 2022, beginning of 2023.
2020
And
did a number on all of us.
yes, yes,
The
it really,
boom.
yes. So it's, yeah, if it weren't for COVID, we would have been having this conversation back in 2021, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, and and also, I mean, from a caregiving standpoint, my mom died in December of 2020. And that year, she did not die of COVID, but that year was such a challenge in terms of um,
Everything.
caregiving for her and, making sure that she didn't get COVID and the people working with us didn't get COVID. And I can only imagine what people have gone through in the years since. Um, but the show, it incorporates art song, it incorporates American standards that everyone will know, incorporates some musical theater pieces are
Mhm,
probably a little more obscure.
mhm.
But they're all reinterpreted through this lens of the stories I have to tell about my parents and my experiences. It's whenever I tell people, oh, I'm doing a cabaret show about caregiving and dementia, I
You
usually
get
get
that little
puzzled
sideways look.
looks or oh, or and it is, there are some real stories.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
all the stories are real, but
Oh, yeah.
there are some that are emotional. I try to keep it light. My parents had wonderful senses of humor, and so the show does as well.
Wonderful.
And I've performed it now upstate as well as twice in the city. And um, it's really resonated with people who maybe otherwise would not come to this kind of live performance,
Mhm,
would not be drawn to it. I
mhm.
think that I'm sure you'd agree that, we just don't see these experiences or these stories portrayed in the arts, particularly not in live performance, particularly often. And so I think it's just so surprising for people to be watching this person tell stories that are experiences that they've had. And after the first show, the first time I did the show last fall upstate, it was like I felt like I was, in the old Peanuts cartoons, Lucy had the little booth and people would come for psychiatric advice or
Mindset.
whatever. I felt like Lucy in the booth because there was a line of people and they're all like, "Oh my gosh, I had the same experience with my dad," or "Oh, my mom did the same thing and this is how I dealt with it." And it was really interesting because I think people, as I too have found the show to be therapeutic. And so I'm sure in your caregiving support situations in your regular groups and Zooms that I know that you have, it's so useful for people
to
even if they're
share.
not really getting advice or they're getting
Mhm.
anything practical, just to know that there are other people having these kinds of deeply emotional, deeply draining, but also rewarding experiences, and
Absolutely.
they're not alone.
Absolutely. Because that's the whole point of the support groups, is to bring people together who are going through a caregiving situation, no matter how small they may think it is in their head, or even, when they're hearing somebody else's story. Hold on, all of my commercials are coming up now. What the heck? Hold on. What? Um, no matter how small or how large you may think your situation is, nothing is ever too small or too large to share. Okay, because
Right.
that's how we help each other out. And there we go. Oh, uh, I know you can see me, but I couldn't see you because the screen was
Oh,
black.
because of the ads.
Yeah, but that's all right. That's real.
Hey,
Uh,
I have a whole bit in the show about technology.
oh goodness, girl, me and it, we just fight all the time. But besides that, um, yeah. So your experience with your folks, with taking care of your people, your family, long distance, that is major.
It was really tough.
Major.
And again, I don't have children, so I
Mhm.
cannot imagine had I had children and been trying to deal with these situations with my parents.
Mhm.
I mean, I obviously wouldn't have been able to go home for a week, a month, and make all the other trips that I made at the last minute because something happened.
Yeah.
And that's why I think your group is so inspiring, because most people are sandwiched in between two very different
Generations.
types of caregiving.
Hmm. And with that being said, there's a lot to be done. The caregiver's work never really ends. You're trying to rest, but the mind is still going, you know, and it's all of what ifs and if I coulda, shoulda, woulda. You can beat yourself silly with that stuff. And we try to give the caregivers a place to dump it for a minute, for a little while, just to get over it.
Yeah, yeah,
And to be able to share with the other caregivers. And in sharing, feedback comes from the other caregivers as to, like you were saying, oh, yeah, I had that too, and blah, 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 blah. And that one little nugget can help someone figure, oh, is that all I have to do? Yeah, you don't have to make it so technical. It doesn't have to, for a moment. And little jewels show up that help take that weight off their back for a while. And that's the
yeah.
beauty of it. I love it when the lights come on. I'm like, yes, you see the eyes light up. Oh yeah, that's the one thing I love about Boomers Are Heroes and supporting each other. And your story, you are a hero with your parents. And Boomers Are Heroes are here. And we're here to, again, help each other. We have so much to offer each other. But not only that, but there are services where we help our people find some respite care.
Yeah, I that
So,
was something I think more and more people are seeking and
mhm,
offering. And so I was
mhm.
really curious about your, provision of respite care. Is that something that you is new, or that you've just seen such a demand for that you're have more recently
It's
kind of
such a
tried to offer it?
demand for it, but the people don't know how to ask for it. So we
Yeah,
have to offer it to them
yeah,
and guide them along, because it's with the caregiving, you develop a tunnel vision, you know, and it's about the loved one, loved one, loved one. What about me? It's not about me, it's about them. Yeah, but without you, who's going to take care of them? So trying to help them to understand that taking a break for yourself is no sin. And it's necessary for you to keep your health up, to keep your mind together, and so that you can be there healthfully for your loved ones, because you're not going to do anybody any good if you're splayed out because you haven't been taking care of yourself.
And
So,
if you're on your last nerve,
ah,
you know?
yeah, because you're just you got a hair trigger after a while, and anything will set you off. And actually, that's okay too, once in a while. But when you know you're getting to that you need to be able to have someone lined up to fill in for you for an hour, a
Yeah.
neighbor. Come over and hang out with mom for a while. I just got to get away for a minute. I really,
Yeah.
you know,
I think
you,
also for me,
mhm,
it was recognizing I'm not a professional caregiver. I've never been
mhm,
trained in
mhm,
caregiving.
mhm,
And there's, particularly with my mom,
mhm,
there were some things that, particularly when it came to when we got to the point where she needed a lot of,
mhm,
physical movement.
mhm,
And I'm a small person.
mhm.
She too is a small person,
But
but
still, it's mechanics involved with
I
that. Yeah.
just, and we, it would come to tears, right? Both of us. And so
It's
I finally said,
frustrating.
Brooke, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes, you're coming home to caregive, but you're also coming home to be a daughter and have a relationship with your mom. And so why don't I just have one of the caregivers come for an hour before bedtime and help me or do this? And so that way, my mom and I can have a more positive experience. And
Absolutely.
it took a long because I felt guilty. I thought, oh, I don't
No,
want to,
I'm her daughter.
I don't
I
want to
need to
bother
do
them. I don't want
this.
to, why should I
Yes.
spend the money to do that? I'm
Mhm,
here. It's just, but I'll tell you what, once I came to that realization that I could not do everything, it's not
mhm.
physically, I couldn't do it. It really made our time together so much more valuable. Um, and I'm really glad that I recognized that early on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I appreciate all that you offer through uh who knows where or when your program. Who knows where or when,
Yeah.
which is being presented on Saturday, February 24th at the Perch. And you can finish the rest of that.
It's at like Jean said, 7:30 at the Perch, which is in the Kensington neighborhood, just a
Mm-hmm.
couple blocks from Norris Square Park.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to put a link to the tickets in
Mm-hmm.
the description.
Mm-hmm.
And I really look forward to seeing you all there. It's a fun, light, but very personal show.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love doing it, particularly for people who've had similar experiences.
And there's so many of us. It's amazing. You can't be in a group of 5 people and not touch a caregiver in there. And
I think, was it Rosalind Carter that said, you will either
be,
you either are a caregiver, you will be a caregiver, or
where
you
you
will
have
require
been.
caregiving.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was I think it
Mm-hmm.
was her
Mm-hmm.
that said that.
Yep. Either, it's going to touch you in some way or another. And there are people who are not caregivers. It's just a fact. And within the family is a 20% rule. So
Oh,
if there's 5 of you, one of you is going to be the one. I am the oldest of 5 and I am the one.
yeah.
But look what I'm doing. Who knew, Um, but it's a work of love for your loved one. And yeah, it's hard. And there are moments when you just like you can't take another minute, and that's only human. That's only being human. But the trick is realizing that you need help and reaching out for it. And that's one another thing that we do is to provide resources to our caregivers to find the help they need at home so that they can carry on the care of their loved ones. And when you finally come to the moment, yeah, I do need help. Yep, we're here. We can help you find them, and put you in front of the right people because it does take a while to get there. Brooke, this has been good. I'm so glad we had this chance to chat
Me
and
too.
to be able to let my people in Philadelphia know, my caregivers know that there is a fundraising event for Boomers Are Heroes starring Brooke Schooley. And the program is called Who Knows Where or When, and it's a program that Brooke developed. It is a cabaret performance, music, of course, singing. She has a pianist with her, and the two of them will have you laughing and singing and looking at listening to these songs in a different way, right?
Totally.
And
It's funny, I didn't talk about, I'll just interject real
no,
quick.
go
I
ahead.
didn't talk about that, but one of the other reasons I was inspired to do this show is I was just looking through some sheet music, just trying to figure out what I wanted to work on next. And probably because I had this situation on my mind, all of the songs, or so many of the songs, I thought, oh my gosh, this is, like, think about love songs. They're all about uh, an altered mental state, right? I'm so in love that I'm
Mm-hmm,
confused. I can't even remember my name. I
mm-hmm,
don't know what I'm doing or
mm-hmm.
why. And I thought, oh my gosh, you could totally interpret this through a different lens. So
Absolutely.
all that is to say, I hope everyone will be surprised and entertained by some of the songs in the show that you might not have thought about in the context of caregiving and dementia in particular.
Absolutely. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. I want people to be able to see this. If I can get it up here, give me a second. It's funny how this stuff works so well when I'm by myself. But when I need it, I
I know.
can't get it to act right.
Um,
Hold on. Um, bear with me. It's in there. Oh God. Well, you folks will understand that this is live. Okay.
this is live
This is live,
live performance
and
right
I'm
here.
messing up all over the place. But that's okay. But I wanted to show the piece. Where there it is. Okay. There. Okay. Am I sharing the screen? Is the screen sharing? Can you
I don't
see it?
see it.
Okay. All right. Where am I? Zoom. Everything is layered now. I'm trying to get back to the original thing. Hold on. This is the beauty of it, right? It's nothing like it. Yet, hold on. Trying not to cuss. Okay. Where are you? Anywho, there it is. Okay. Share the screen. Share. There. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we have the screen up and it's giving the information about the event.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we'll put that link. We should put that link in the when you post it on the YouTube, the video description.
Absolutely. All
Yeah.
right. I'll pop that link in, which is this.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I am so happy, Brooke, that you have chosen Boomers Are Heroes. I'm so honored that you chose us, and my heart is full. I've been really just floating ever since. And then as you get close to the event, it's like, oh God, the tickets. You're just
It's
trying
always
to get
something.
people to pay attention. But it's happening. It's happening. Folks are paying attention. And we're gonna have a great audience there for you that evening. And also, I just want to mention that after the performance, well, before the performance at 7 o'clock, we're gonna have some uh, munchies, some nibbles and drinks, okay, and beverages. And then after the performance, we will have a commentary. The audience can ask questions and make the comments about things that they heard or felt while the program, while Brooke was performing. Yes?
That's fantastic. That's a great
Yes.
idea. I
It'll
love
be
it.
really good. And I'm looking so forward. This 1 week. Oh my God. Time
Yes, a
flies.
week from tomorrow, everyone.
Yeah, time flew. So please, everyone, please remember Boomers Are Heroes, Caregiver Support Groups 2024 Fundraiser Benefit Concert. Who knows where or when? Starring and written by Brooke Schooley. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. Please click into the link at the bottom of the page on YouTube. and you'll be able to click in and get all the information about ticket purchasing and the location. All right. I thank you so very much. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. See you next weekend.
All right. Thank you so much. Now let me, and
All right.
put the page back up. That's up again. Okay. One
Should we
second.
log off?
No, not yet. What I want to do, give me a sec. Get back to this thing. Oh, stop share.